we can get going. Okay, so welcome everyone to our webinar. I see a few other people have joined us. So just a few words about who I am. And my name is Joanna. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a professional coach specializing in diversity, inclusion, and interculturality and career transitions. I'm British. I've been living in France for over 25 years now. I have a background in HR. And I've been working as a professional coach for the past 10 years, or coming up to 10 years. In 2020, I launched this international learning network, which I call the Colour Learning Hub, with the objective and the ambition of bringing people together to discuss, exchange new topics, topics that are topical and that are important to all of us in some shape or form. And we have one webinar a month in English and in French. This is the program for the last year. So there's one more session coming up in November on the subject of cultural intelligence, if you want to sign up. And of course, come December, will be our annual networking evening. There's a chance to meet up, have a drink, and get to know each other a bit better and meet up physically as opposed to virtually. So please don't hesitate to come along. If you want to, I'll be sending out invitations for that hopefully the end of next week, so look out for that. Okay, so as you can see, every month we bring in a new topic, we bring in a new expert, and I'm very proud to have with me today my dear friend and colleague Marie, who I shall now let introduce herself.
Thank you, Joanna, and I'm really happy to be here as well and to have this opportunity to meet a lot of you. Some of you I know, but a lot of you I don't. So thank you all for participating. And I'm especially happy to be able to share this subject with you that Joanna and I have been working on together and that is very close to our hearts, which is the subject of leadership for women. So how did this come about? So like Joanna, I'm an executive coach and I have been working with women and men for the past 25 years. I'm British as well. And through the work that I've been doing, I do a lot of work in public speaking, assertive communication. And through the work that I've been doing over these years, I actually came to realize the importance for women to be able to get ourselves out there and to actually overcome these barriers that are stopping us from achieving our true potential, from getting to where we really should be. And a lot of these barriers are internal barriers. And talking with Joanna, I realized that, yeah, there are internal barriers, but there are also external barriers. And that's why we came together and decided to bring our expertise together and to create this program, which is really to help women to get over that double bind that's imposed by the society, which is really, you have to be nice. As a woman, we have to be nice to please people, but at the same time, we have to be firm. Okay, so sometimes the two just don't go together. So what we're going to be presenting to you is really those external factors, the external headwinds stopping women from getting to those positions that they really deserve to be in, and also the internal barriers that come from ourselves. So, unleashing your powerful inner leader, 3 key leadership lessons for women, which we're going to be very happy to share with you. So my question to you is, what's your interest in our subject today? So maybe you would like to share some of your thoughts in the chat. What has brought you here today? What's your interest in this subject? Any thoughts that you have that you would like to share? Take your time to think about it. What made you curious to sign up to come here and join us today?
Perhaps you have a question, perhaps you have a thought that you'd like us to explore. As I say, even the title, how does that inspire you? What made you sign up for this discussion today? Let's hear from you.
Oh, well, this is a really not a special one, but I think I was very interesting, and I'm always happy to learn more.
Yes, the imposter syndrome, Claire. Very good, a very good point. And
so
nice to see you. I don't know. I can hear a voice. I'm afraid I can't hear what you're saying.
Yeah, the sound isn't great.
I'm very interested to learn things.
Okay. I don't know if is that Suzelle, maybe? I don't know. Okay, same as above, Georgia.
Yeah, the imposter syndrome. It's not just women who feel it, but it is very, very feminine.
Okay.
It is stronger with women than with men.
Okay.
Jacqueline, having seen how sometimes women find it difficult to accede to more senior positions in the organization, interested in seeing how my experience matches with other perceptions. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Jacqueline. Have self-confidence. Yeah.
And Cecilia saying how to convince and be heard, truly heard.
Oh, yeah.
Marie has lots to say about that. So hang in there.
That's such a big subject for us.
Hang in there. Yes, Julie, absolutely. The psychological barriers, brilliant. Okay, so okay, super. Thank you for sharing. Well, let's get cracking. As I say, 3 important lessons that we'd like to share with you. And the first one is what we call the headwinds. In other words, what's going on outside, in the context of the world of work that could be having an impact on women aspiring to leadership. So I wanted to share a first statistic with you. So women make up almost half of the population in France, if not a little bit more. And just, and 48.5% of the working population. So we're not working to full capacity, which is an interesting idea. So what's stopping women getting into the workplace in the first place? So that's another debate, but it's an interesting one. Women are generally more qualified than men. I don't know if you know this statistic, but more than half of women aged between 25 and 34 years actually have a higher education qualification more than men. So again, this is an interesting statistic. And if you look at the graph here on the left, you'll see that it's true of many European countries. So again, women are qualified. We come out with higher qualifications, and yet, something somewhere goes wrong. Here's a question for you. In your opinion, for every 100 men getting their first promotion, how many women are also promoted? In your opinion, out of 100 men, how many women are also getting that first promotion? Let's see you. Suzette is not
40.
very optimistic.
Claire,
oh my
you less
goodness.
10.
Actually, it's interesting the numbers that you're putting forward. The actual number, now this is a study by McKinsey that's come out this week, and I really recommend you read it. Obviously, the numbers are higher, but I see some of you have put lower numbers, which of course call to mind also the sectors we're in. I'm thinking of Claire in particular. For example, there are areas in which women are underrepresented to begin with, and therefore, of course, statistically, there will be fewer. But if you look globally, okay, this is a global study, for every 100 men getting that first promotion, only 87. Now, the focus here is the idea of first promotion. In other words, we are more qualified than men, and yet we struggle somehow to get that first managerial role. And that first step, which we call the broken rung, the phenomenon behind it is the challenge that a lot of women face, getting that first, kind of management position, which of then, will create difficulties to climb up the ladder. And therefore, women are, generally underrepresented in all governing bodies. Now, if you look at the board of directors, we've gone from 10% to 45% almost. That's partly because of the quota system that we have here in France. But as you can see, senior leadership teams, we still are underrepresented. So take a moment to think about the organizations you're working in or with. What is the presence of women? Where are you at today? Do you have the impression that women are equally represented? Is this phenomenon of underrepresentation true too for where you are? this idea of underrepresentation, having fewer women in leadership roles, of course, calls to mind this notion of the glass ceiling. So for those of you who don't know this expression, so the glass ceiling is a metaphor which describes an artificial invisible barrier that somehow prevents women from achieving executive roles within an organization. Okay, so we talk about, when we talk about the glass ceiling, it's this visible and barrier, but also everything that goes into that. What are the difficulties? What are the challenges? How come that even in 2023, this barrier still exists? More of that in a minute. We wanted to share with you a video, and I've just realized I think I haven't shared my my sound. So I'm now going to share a video with you that kind of, for us, Maria and I, really sums up what this is about. So hopefully, as I say, the sound will work. If it doesn't, please let me know. Okay, let's go.
Hello, yeah, gentlemen. Take the escalator, please. Thank you very much. Ladies, up the stairs. Thank you. Gents, you can take it. Escalator right to the top. Thank you very much. Ladies, take the stairs, please. Stairs. Gents, take the escalator. Ladies, take the stairs, please. Gents, take the escalator. Ladies, take the stairs, please. If you don't mind. Over here. Up the escalator. Ladies, take the stairs, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Gents, go up the escalator if you want. Shut the escalator. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Ladies, can you take the stairs, please? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. It's just the way it is. Yep, it is. Stairs, please. Thank you very much. Yep, it's just the way it is. I'm sorry. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you. Gentlemen, can you take the escalator, please? Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
In 2018, the path to leadership is still too slow. We need more women leaders in London to make our city even more successful. This is our time to support more women from all backgrounds into leadership roles.
So as you can see, this video was made in 2018 and we're still having the conversation. Anyway, when you see this video, what comes to mind? What words, feelings, thoughts come to mind? Or what did it make you think of? Again, let's hear from you from the chat. Be curious to see what went through your mind as you were watching this video. Yes, Claire, very much so.
Injustice.
The passivity of
Angry,
women.
Sister Angry,
Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
Really, that's that notion. Yes, angry, unfair. Yeah.
Actually, a lot of women copy masculine traits in order to access higher government positions. Yeah. Therefore, they only allow that kind of comportment to be successful. Exactly. I wondered what would happen if one woman had taken the escalator. Yeah. No woman said no, exactly. Denial of women's potential. And that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Women's potential is being denied.
Absolutely. So as you can see, as I say, symbolic representation of a reality, the reality of this glass ceiling. So question for you. We talk about this glass ceiling, we talk about this invisible barrier, but what are we talking about exactly? In your opinion, what are the factors that contribute to the glass ceiling? I mean, you've already addressed a few in your messages already, but if we really trying to pin down what's going on, what would you say were the factors contributing to the existence of the glass ceiling in organizations today? What's going on? Again, you think about the external, the systemic, societal, whatever comes to mind. Yes, unconscious bias. We are less assertive than men.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Because we're educated to be less assertive than men. But anyway, we'll be talking about that afterwards.
Yes, and as a child, we're told that this thing about education again. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Men are
Kind man.
afraid. Interesting idea, Cecilia. Okay. Our paradigm of how we, yes.
Time of how we will be perceived by males in our teams. Exactly. Yeah. Our self-image.
The boys' club thing, definitely.
Definitely
True.
Very present.
What is it that's what is it that's holding women back? Yes, Claire, thank you. Yes, the balance between the job and the family. Man is getting more rational. Women are thought as being too emotional. Very true. That again, we're talking about bias.
Boys Club rarely does exist. It does. Yeah, it does exist. The question as to whether what got us this far will be the same as what will be needed to be successful in the future. That's a very good point, Jacqueline.
Yeah.
Right, we can be pregnant, maternity questions, which Joanna knows. Yeah,
well,
really
listen, looks
talk
like
to you a lot about.
Looks like you're all quite lucid as to what is going on. We want to share with you some of the things that the research tells us, studies tell us. So in a lot of organizations, we see what we call the presenteeism work culture, the fact that we are focusing on presence and not results. I'm sure some of you will understand what I mean by that. So therefore, women are invariably impacted in terms of their presence and judged on that, because presence equals loyalty and dedication. And of course, the bias that comes up straight away is as soon as a woman has a child or has children, she will not be as available and therefore is not as dedicated and committed. So again, it's this, there's a kind of a cultural dimension. You were talking about the boys' club. Men seem to network more naturally than women. When I say naturally, in the sense that it's, that they do it quite spontaneously. Women tend to resist, that they tend to not have such developed professional networks. So the question is, how come? And of course, what can we do about it? The maternity wall, a very important topic. Women do face discrimination because of maternity, don't have the support that they need. And so it's an interesting, and the impact is absolutely there. Maternity, of course, leading to the pressures of balancing a work-life commitments, and organizations are not always providing family-friendly policies, and therefore not providing that support. And because of this maternity wall, because of the fact that women are perceived as not as dedicated, not as committed, sometimes it can lead to women not being given proper development opportunities throughout their career, which of course then impacts how their potential in terms of becoming a leader. Leadership models are interesting too. It's what kind of model do we put forward? What kind of values, qualities, competences do we put forward? And how do we associate that with men and women? You refer to implicit bias. There are many implicit biases regarding women. And when we think of a leader, very often people will give vocabulary, adjectives that refer to men and not women, but not because we're not capable, but because that's what is associated with men and women. I think Christina earlier was saying about how we're not perceived as assertive and too emotional. Well, this is what I'm talking about. We have a leadership model that seems to be in contradiction sometimes with how we perceive women in the workplace. Of course, we're talking about bias, but bias leads to decision making, and therefore women sometimes face doubt. People don't believe in them. And of course, when you talk about imposter syndrome, imposter syndrome is internalized bias that other people have about us. So, the imposter syndrome also comes from the fact that we somehow have incorporated the idea that we are not worthy because, and therefore, of course, that also, sort of hinders us in daring to go for these positions. And this whole sense of self-censorship kind of dimension really plays out, and this is where Marie comes in.
So let's talk now about, and this is our second lesson, understanding the inner dragons that are holding you back. Okay, so thank you, Joanna, for talking about all those external factors which are real and which we definitely have to face when we want to get into those top managerial leadership positions. But there are also our own dragons. It's what's going on within ourselves. So I'm going to run you through some of the inner dragons that I like to help my women clients to become aware of. And so we're going to be looking at injunctions, drivers, limiting beliefs, and the inner critic. So let's take a closer look at each of those different factors. So I like to use transactional analysis a lot. It was created by Eric Byrne. It's a fantastic tool that is used in coaching and in therapy, very easy to understand, and it's fantastic to help people to understand the way that they're communicating. And so Eric Byrne, the founder of transactional analysis, actually came up with 12 injunctions. So if we take a look at them, there's don't be, don't exist, don't be you, don't be a child, don't grow up, don't make it, don't do anything. Don't be important, don't belong, don't be close, don't be well or sane, don't think, don't feel. Okay. So these injunctions we have received as children from our parents, from our education, from our family in general. And very often they're subconscious. We don't actually realize that these are actually affecting the way that we behave. And if we take the injunctions that I've actually marked in red, those tend to be quite strong with a lot of women. So don't be you. What do we mean by that? Don't be you is the idea of don't be who you truly are, who yourself. So who you are yourself. So maybe, and this happens quite a lot, luckily less so, but maybe your parents wanted you to be a boy rather than being a girl. So don't be the gender that you actually are. Or just don't be that sensitive person who you are. Okay, put on a strong front and be different. So it's really this idea that you were not encouraged to be your true self as a child. And so obviously later on in life, you're putting on this air of trying to be someone who you don't feel totally aligned with. Don't make it. So that's the idea of don't be successful. So that could be, and sometimes I see this for women especially, it could be that the boy in the family, the son of the family, was actually encouraged to be successful and to do well and to get a good position and everything, but you as a woman you were not encouraged. So maybe this does still exist today. Maybe as a woman you were encouraged to be a good wife and a good mother rather than being successful in your career. Okay, these are subconscious messages that we've received. Don't be important. Okay, maybe as a child you heard you should be seen but not be heard. Okay, don't talk too loudly. Don't make yourself known. Don't make yourself seen. Okay, so obviously if you've received that injunction as a child, it's difficult then to take your place in the workplace. Okay, to be that important person, to have an important position, to make yourself visible enough as a leader. And the other injunction a lot of women have received is don't think. So this is the idea of don't have your own opinion. So a couple of people mentioned earlier the difficulties of being assertive. Okay, being assertive, it means that you can think for yourself and you can express your opinion. But if as a child you're taught to not actually think for yourself, but to just take on the opinions of others, okay, it's going to be difficult for you to be assertive. Yeah. So that's a brief overview of the injunctions of transactional analysis. So yeah, let's take a look now at the 5 drivers of transactional analysis. These are really interesting. Okay, the first one is please me. Okay, I'm not going to lie about this. This is very strong for a lot of women. Okay, we've been educated to be nice, to be kind, to smile. Someone said it actually in the chat earlier. Okay, please me. So it's really the idea that what you do is to please other people. Okay, and you're not necessarily going to be thinking about yourself and your own needs. And you might find yourself also in situations where you're accepting to do things that you don't really want to do, but you don't know how to say no. You don't know how to not be that nice little girl who you were educated to be. Okay. It's a very strong driver for a lot of women, and it holds us back. And I'm not saying that you should become the opposite and become totally self-centered and not care about other people, but it's just finding that balance and being aware. And in fact, how can you do that? It's also in those moments where you find yourself accepting to do things that you think, oh, why did I accept that? You know, afterwards you think about it. Just say to yourself, okay, obviously it's my please me driver that was making me do that. Another driver is be strong. Okay, so this is the idea of I can do this by myself. I don't need help. Okay, so how this can affect you in the workplace is maybe by not asking for help, not delegating enough. And as a result, you might find yourself with a too big workload. And maybe as a result, you're not actually, doing the important work that you should be doing. And as a result, that can also stop you from, getting into those higher managerial positions where you do actually need to delegate and to actually ask for help when necessary. Okay. The next one is hurry up. Okay, this maybe this resonates with you, or maybe you know that person who is always impatient and always wanting to do things quickly and maybe putting pressure on themselves or maybe putting pressure on others. Okay. So the problem with hurry up is you're always in a hurry to do things and you're not actually just taking a step back and taking time to think about what you actually want to be doing, okay, and where you want to be going. Okay? So important to be aware of that, to think about, oh yeah, okay, can just take a moment, go a bit more calmly, and think about where I want to be at, rather than just rushing through everything all the time. Try hard, try hard. This is the idea of putting a lot of effort into things, okay? Like even when something is easy to do, you're going to put loads of effort into doing it. The problem with that is that you can wear yourself out, and people who have the try hard driver actually run the risk of having a burnout. And so it's really about saying, okay, I can work hard, but there are moments also when things can be easier, okay, and I don't need to put so much effort into what I'm doing. The last driver, and certainly not the least, is be perfect. And again, a very female driver. This idea of I have to do everything perfectly, I can't get things wrong. And maybe as a result, okay, I mean, I see this a lot actually with my public speaking clients, a lot of the time, because maybe their English isn't perfect, or they feel their presentation skills are not perfect, so they won't actually take those opportunities to speak in public, to give those presentations, and as a result, they're not making themselves visible. And as we know, to get into those higher managerial positions, you need to be able to make yourselves visible. So if you feel like be perfect is a strong driver, again, be aware of it, okay, and really think, okay, how can I just say sometimes, actually, this is just good enough and it's fine. Okay. So the third aspect of transactional analysis that we're going to look at is what are limiting beliefs. Okay, let's go through some of these. So I'm too young for people to take me seriously, or I'm too old to be listened to. We see this a lot in the workplace. And this feeling of being too young, okay, this can hold back a lot of women, men also, okay, but as we're talking about women, this can really stop women from saying, okay, it doesn't matter if I'm young, I know that I'm good enough for this job, okay? So it's really getting over that limiting belief that being young makes you less serious, or being too old, okay? Being older means having those experience, having maturity. I'm not educated, smart, or pretty enough, okay? I think that speaks for itself. I need to make others happy so I won't be rejected. This goes back to the please me driver. Okay. And this is really a big problem when women want to get into those higher positions, because if the woman is always trying to make others happy, okay, so that she won't be rejected, then she's not going to be assertive enough. And a link to this is I have to earn other people's approval to feel good about myself. Okay, so it's not just the impression that other people have of you, the image, but it's also your own personal image of yourself. I shouldn't put my needs before others. I don't deserve success, money, fame, etc. Okay, we talked about the injunction of not being important. Okay, mustn't be important, mustn't be successful. If I pursue my own interests, my relationships will suffer. Okay, see that's a lot for women, and that question actually came up also earlier in the chat of, okay, you know, how to manage the life work balance. Okay, if I'm working really hard, I'm, you know, going for those promotions, are my relationships going to suffer? Is my family life going to be suffering? And last but not least, if I speak my mind, I'll be rejected. Okay, so again, it's this idea of being afraid that people won't like you enough, you'll be rejected, and as a result, you're not necessarily assertive enough. So my question to you now, with these limiting beliefs, is which ones really speak to you? Which ones resonate with you? And are there any others that you feel present in yourselves? Take the time to think about it, and then if you want to share any ideas in the chat. A lot of the time, we're not even aware of them. It's not until we actually, you know, think about it. Jacqueline, thank you. I have to earn others' approval. That's so feminine, so feminine. Elena, I'm not smart enough. Yeah, the imposter syndrome. What makes me better than someone else? Yeah, why should it be me? You know, going for that job again. Imposter syndrome. I'm not smart enough. Yeah, okay. Again, the imposter syndrome. Fear of being rejected. Not being assertive enough because I'm afraid of being rejected. Not making people happy. Yeah, Julie, putting your own needs above others. So feminine, so feminine. You know, it's almost as if it comes naturally, but it's because of the education we've received of looking stupid, imposter syndrome. Yeah, may have less time to prove my credibility than male managers. Yeah, and that's true. As women, we do tend to feel that we need to prove ourselves more, need to be liked by everyone. I may try too hard, putting too much energy into it. Yep. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. And so we've looked at some of the inner dragons. And so we're going to now move on to the last part of this webinar where we're going to help you to develop strategies to achieve your full leadership potential. So lesson 3.
Ooh. Thank you, Marie. So as you saw, there are external factors that have an impact on women's careers and women in leadership and women who aspire to leadership. Lots of barriers coming up in structural systemic, but also within ourselves, where we struggle with finding our place sometimes, finding our voice. So in terms of strategies, one of the first things we think is important is to think about our brand. When we talk about personal branding, you know, it sounds a little bit fake, but that's not what we're trying to say here. What we're trying to say is find your unique voice when it comes to defining yourselves as a leader. You know, we are influenced by these drivers, injunctions, biases, expectations from society, and from that we have also integrated. But you know, it's I think the trick here is to think about who we are as a leader. So for that, I know some questions come up. You know, what is your why? Why is leadership important to you? What do you want to achieve with leadership? And then think about your own unique talents, strengths, qualities, personality, values. These elements are what will define you as a leader. And, you know, once you've developed that identity, then it's about getting it out there and getting people to identify you in accordance to this identity. So think about how you dress, how you speak, how you behave with other people, how you write, all the things, you know, any interaction that you have with the people around you will determine, you know, will help you kind of have an impression on people of that brand that is yours, that voice that is yours as a leader. And it transpires through what we communicate, whether it's verbally or non-verbally. So there's this idea, this reflection first up, which is who I am as a leader. What, you know, does leadership mean to me, and how do I want to be part of the leadership team or contribute to the leadership team? The second is, you know, is making myself visible. As we've seen, you know, we struggle as women to be visible for the various reasons that we've discussed. So the question is, what opportunities are there that allow me to be visible? You know, is it speaking up in a meeting? Is it taking up a public speaking opportunity? You know, someone says to you, you know, we're giving a conference next week on your expertise subject. You know, what's stopping you from saying, well, I'd like to be a keynote speaker, okay, or perhaps take part in a roundtable discussion. So getting out there, daring to step out that comfort zone and speak in, you know, visibly in public rather. Another way of doing it is to become a teacher or a mentor, you know, supporting, you know, people and becoming visible as a leader in a different way. You can also do this online. And of course, you can always volunteer, you know, for special projects and opportunities within the organization and within your department that will allow you to be noticed in terms of, you know, who you are and what you bring to the table as a leader. And then, of course, there's this notion of reputation. A reputation precedes us. And if we don't manage our personal branding and our self-marketing, other people will determine what that reputation is. So it's important to be aware that this is happening, and also to keep track of our reputation. You know, be clear, do people really understand what I do professionally? Do they really understand my added value? Do they appreciate my voice, my opinion, what I believe, you know, in terms of convictions for this project, job, or whatever? You know, what are people saying about me? Don't hesitate to ask for feedback. You know, find people that you trust and who, you know, support you in your leadership journey, and ask them for feedback so that they get a feel, so that you get a feel rather, of what is being said, what, you know, what your strengths are, and perhaps also development areas that you would like to address that will allow you to achieve your objective. So things to think about in terms of communication, branding, self-marketing, and reputation. And speaking of communication.
Okay, thank you, Joanna. So yeah, speaking of communication, and this has come up a few times in the chat, so we're going to talk about what assertive communication is. So I'm going to just make it very clear what assertiveness is, because so many times I hear people saying to me, especially women, oh, but if I become assertive, then, you know, people aren't going to like me, and I don't want to be aggressive. Okay, it's not the same thing. So passiveness, let's just look at the three different terms. Passiveness basically what that means is I don't respect or express my own opinion or feelings. I give more importance to what other people think or feel. Okay, so that's really if you're in a meeting, for example, and maybe you don't agree with what's being said, but you don't dare, for whatever reason, you don't dare actually express your opinion or say how you're feeling. And so you just don't say anything, or you just agree with other people in spite of the fact that, in fact, you actually don't in yourself agree with them. Okay, so it's really the idea that you give more importance to other people's thoughts and feelings than your own. Aggressiveness is totally the opposite. Okay, it's that person who considers that my opinion and my feelings are the most important. So it's the idea I don't respect or give importance to what other people think or feel. Okay, so I'm sure we can all think of an aggressive person who imposes their opinions, their feelings, and who does not respect or give any importance to others. So the ideal behavior to adopt is assertiveness. What assertiveness means is I respect to express my own opinions and feelings. I also respect what other people think and feel. Okay. If we look more closely at that, what it means is that you can give your opinion or you can say how you feel. Okay. You can ask for what you want or need. It's so important. As women, we find it hard, and that came up again in the chat, find it hard to actually express what we want and what we need, okay, which is often why women don't go for those promotions, because they haven't even made it clear that they want that promotion, that they're interested in it, okay? So it's asking for what you want or need. It's disagreeing with people, but respectfully, okay? If you're in a meeting, you disagree, that you actually say it, but respecting the other person. You listen to the other person, but you express your opinion as well. You offer your ideas and suggestions, okay? Assertiveness is all about saying, yeah, I have an idea, suggestion on that. Saying no without feeling guilty, okay? Might be difficult if you're a people pleaser, okay, to actually say no to things. You might find yourself actually accepting to do things that you shouldn't be, okay? But it's all about saying no when you feel that you have the right to, and not feeling guilty about it. It's especially that. And maybe also speaking up for someone else, okay? I noticed in the chat earlier that someone noted that women amongst themselves don't always stand up for each other, okay? And that I think is so important, okay, to say, yeah, if I feel like a woman or a man, but we're talking about women here, okay? A woman is being unfairly treated, to actually speak up for her. That's assertiveness as well. Okay, so let's move on also to the other way of becoming visible. And here we're talking about public speaking, okay? We're talking about taking the floor with presence. So what that means is really portraying that confident body language, okay? Body language is so important. So that's why I chose this image of the woman with open arms, okay? Always think about it. If you're giving a presentation, have open body language, speak from here through your chest. Use impactful storytelling to get your message across, okay? People will want to listen to you. Project a powerful voice. As women, you tend to have quite a soft voice. You've been taught to not speak too loudly, okay? So presentations, meetings, it can be very difficult in meetings to make yourself heard. Again, that was something I noticed in the chat, okay? So learning to project a powerful voice, having all of the power of your voice. Creating rapport with your audience, connecting with your audience, relaxing and enjoying it, okay? These are really the 5 elements that I consider to be really important to become visible, give those presentations, and to get yourself out there, make yourself visible, take the floor with presence. Okay, so I'll pass over to Joanna now. The part on networking.
Sorry, I'm just having problems putting my mic back on. Thank you, Marie. Thank you for that. Okay, networking. Some people consider this a real chore and a real drag, but so important for our professional development on so many levels. So how much time do you spend per week networking, and how much time should you be spending? According to experts, in your opinion, how many hours of networking should you be doing every week? Let's see what you think. How many hours of networking should you be doing every week? According to career experts, 3 hours, says Julie. Suzanne, 1. Okay. Oh, yes. Oh, once a week. Okay. Well, listen, you're in for a surprise. We should be aiming for 10 to 15 hours a week of networking. Now, networking can happen in many different ways. Okay. So this is where we have to be creative. I know it's crazy, but true. So the first question is, what am I trying to achieve? What is my ambition? How am I going to get there? So clearly identify the goal, in terms of position, in terms of role, in terms of assignment, whatever it is. What is it that you're aiming for? And give yourself a timeline, in the next 6 months, in the next 2 years, whatever it is. Think about how you're going to get to that target. And then, of course, who can help you along the way. Okay, and when I say who, it can be 2 people. There are going to be 2 sets of people. They're going to be those who are going to be there to support you, okay, giving you information, giving you moral support, giving you tools, whatever it is. And then, of course, there are those who are going to make the decisions that will determine whether you can reach that goal or not. So it's also being close to those who are decision makers. In terms of networking tools, these are skills that you can develop. And by that, I mean your pitch, your story. When Marie was talking about storytelling, this can also apply to our pitch. Tell people why you have this, what your ambition is, and why you think you're the best person for that. Okay, so develop the networking tools. So the pitch, presence, in terms of the social media, presence within the organization, in terms of whatever is available in order to be visible. You can network offline, you can go to events, you can have coffee with people that you don't know so well, you can take an interest in colleagues and perhaps in other departments or in other entities. Again, the objective is to become known so that people, with networking, it's about who you know and who can also speak of you in a favorable way. And there are lots of ways you can do this offline. You have your alumni groups, you have your professional groups, you have your internal network systems as well. And of course, you can take this online. A lot of people are very present on LinkedIn, for example, and you can see, those who are always on LinkedIn and who clearly have a voice, clearly have things to say. And that will help you stand out and be visible for who you are. Again, the idea of branding is not to be fake, but to really get out there and be proud of who you are and what you can contribute and what you have achieved. And then the trick is to integrate this into your routine. So every day, think about, having an active kind of reflex where you do think about who you need to meet, who you do think about in your week, who you need to connect with, learn about, be visible to, and to have that consciously, uppermost in your mind in order to, as I say, integrate networking into your routine. So doesn't become a chore, it becomes part of who you are as a professional, and will allow you to, find out information and, as I say, be visible to those who are making the decisions. And there are different types of strategies or objectives when it comes to networking. There's the operational networking, whereas you're learning your trade and you're developing skill set to be better at what you are. There's the strategic, which is longer term in terms of career ambition, who can help me along the way as I progress in the organization. And of course, then there's your personal objectives in terms of learning certain skills, learning certain finding out about how things are done in specific organizations or industries. And this is also a chance for you to find a mentor, finding a mentor or even a sponsor, someone who can help you along the way, is really, really precious. And finally,
okay, so our last little lesson, and again, we're going into the inner dragons that are holding us back. So I noticed a lot of you talking about the imposter syndrome, okay? And yeah, we feel it a lot, as I said, especially as women. So we have like this inner dragon, okay, the inner critic, which tends to be that little voice that's saying to you, oh, I'm not good enough to go for that promotion. Why should it be me? Okay, and I don't have enough experience, or so and so is better than me. Okay, it's that inner critic. Okay. So some tips to overcome that inner critic. Okay, refer to it as my inner critic rather than I. That's important because that way it separates the inner critic from you as a person. Okay, it's not you, it's just this voice, okay, that comes from your education, from your family, from the society. Okay, so refer to it as your inner critic, not I. You can give it a name to personify it. So, okay, I'll share with you the name that I give my own inner critic. It's Miranda. Miranda from The Devil Wears Prada. And so I like to just sometimes laugh at Miranda, you know, when she says to me, oh God, you know, don't write that blog article. No one's going to be interested in what you have to say. I just laugh and say, you know what, Miranda, you know, I want to share my thoughts and, you know, just give me a break. It's fine. Okay, I can manage this. All right. And lastly, be compassionate towards your inner critic's motives. Okay, we tend to be harsh with ourselves, and we tend to say, "Oh, but you know, why am I not asking for that promotion? I should. Oh, but I'm scared." Just listen to what that inner critic is saying to you. Be compassionate. Okay, don't tell it to just shut up. Listen to it, and then just say, "You know what, inner critic, I've got this. I can manage it." Okay, thanks for your advice, but it's fine. Okay. I can deal with this. Okay, thank you. So we've talked to you today about how you can unleash your powerful inner leader. We've talked about how to become aware of the headwinds that women aspiring to be leaders actually face. And so that's really what Joanna talked to you about, all those external factors, the headwinds. We've talked about understanding the inner dragons that are holding you back, okay, which is what I was really talking about, our own psychological factors that are stopping us from getting into those places where we should be going. Okay, and we've also given you some ideas on how you can develop strategies to achieve your full leadership potential. So I'd like to now present to you with Joanna the leadership program that we've created together, Unleashing Your Powerful Inner Leader. It's a 2-day program. And on day 1, it's all about deciding that it's time to embody leadership, taking that decision. And as we did today, exploring the headwinds that hold women back, identifying the personal barriers that hold me back, okay, external, internal factors. And then how to embark on your own heroine's journey, okay, to visualize yourself in that place the way you want to be, wherever it is, that position you want to be in, okay, and how to actually get there. Day 2 is all about understanding how personal branding and networking impact your leadership. Developing as a leader, what can you do about it? And we'll be talking about mastering effective communication. And then moving forward, embodying the ambition that I have. So our question to you is, are you ready to take that first step forward? Okay, so Joanna, we can't hear you.
I was just saying, sorry, Maria, I have a little technical issue. Here we are. Sorry.
Okay. So we'd like to take you on a journey of self-exploration to define where you are and where you want to be with regards to your leadership aspirations. And Elena, thank you. I can see, yes, I am. Yes, great. Okay, so what we would like to invite you to do is to actually get in touch with us. But before that, we actually have put together a questionnaire to allow you to do a sort of self-audit of where you're at today and where you would like to be. Okay. And I think, Joanna, you're going to share that in the chat. Great, that's already done. So it's really to just help you to see, what you're feeling now, where you're at, where you feel you are in terms of your leadership, your career aspirations. Okay, where do you want to go? And then once you've filled in the little questionnaire, then you can we'll get in touch with you actually. Okay. And you don't even need to fill in the questionnaire first. You can also make an appointment with us today. Okay. But the idea is that we'll define together with you an action plan. Identify the objectives that you want to reach. Okay. Discuss your current situation and needs, and it's all personalized. So let's have a conversation about your leadership journey. Okay, so Joanna and I will be really happy for you to get in touch with us and to see where you want to go, which journey you want to follow.
Thank you, Marina. I can see that we've run out of time. We still have a couple of minutes if you do. If you have any questions, please, by all means, don't hesitate to speak up and share your questions with us. And if you have to leave or you have to jump into a meeting right now, before you go, please let us know what you're taking away from our discussions today. If there was something in particular that you found interesting, that you didn't realize, that made you think, we would love to hear from you before you go. We're still here for another 5 minutes or so. Should you have a question and would like to stay on and have a chat, that's absolutely fine. But for those of you who are jumping out, I can see some of you have other commitments, and that's of course absolutely fine. Don't hesitate to, as I say, leave us a word, a thought, something that you take away from our discussions today.
Let's see, Julie has asked a couple of questions. Yeah, is this individual training? The program is really presented as a seminar, okay, for groups. Okay, it's more of a in-house seminar. However, Joanna and I are both executive coaches, and we both do individual coaching sessions as well. And it would be possible also, if you want individual coaching, in fact, to have coaching with both of us on the subject. Okay, so that is definitely a possibility. As I said, the program we presented is the program for group training, but we could also talk about individual coaching, okay, that you could do with both Joanna and I on this subject. And the cost, good question, Julie. It always depends if it's an individual paying out of their pocket, if it's a freelancer, or whether it's a company. So that would be something that we could actually discuss, when we actually have an appointment together. Okay. Marta, is the 2-day workshop the same as individual sessions or 2 different proposals? Let's just say if you're doing it as individual sessions, okay, so they're going to be a lot of the elements that we have from the program that we will bring into the coaching sessions. But as coaching sessions, when they're individual, they're really tailored to the individual needs of the person. So we would take these elements, okay, and then really see how they're affecting you, okay, and then really work around where you're at personally. Okay, does that answer your question, Marta?
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of things.
Okay, as I said, we're running out of time. Please don't hesitate to, do the questionnaire, have a think, and reach out to us. We're happy to answer your questions, to come up with quotes if you need them, to give you more detailed information about our program. Again, whatever question you may have, please reach out. And in the meantime, Julie has sent, I can see, a video for us to keep thinking
Yes,
about
thank you,
this
Julie.
wonderful
Yeah.
subject. And don't forget,
Mm.
next time we're meeting on the 10th of November to talk about cultural intelligence this time. So once again, save the date. And of course, we have our event at the end of the year. Maria and I will be, as I say, we're around and we're available to speak to you by email, by phone. Don't hesitate to reach out. In the meantime, a big thank you to you all. Thank you to my dear friend Marie.
Thank you, Joanna.
Have a wonderful weekend and all the best to you all. And look forward to seeing you very soon. Take care and à
Thank
bientôt.
you. Thank you, everyone, for participating. It was great to see you all here today. Bye.